Hey guys, so here is homework number 21, review on graphing quadratic functions. So just some good practice for you guys to practice graphing. So we will begin. Now for standard form, you guys, it is of this form, right? It is of this form right here, ax squared plus bx plus c. Now we have a graph in standard form, so to find the y-intercept, you guys set x equal to 0. So we substitute 0 in for x. 2 times 0 minus 15. And you will recognize that you would get negative 15. So your x value is 0, and we found that it's negative 15. So we might as well graph that. So I'm just going to do intervals of 4 for the graph. So 0 comma negative 15 is right around there. Okay, now our roots. For our roots, you guys, this is where y is equal to 0 or when f of x is equal to 0. So 0 equals x squared minus 2x minus 15. Now, here we gotta solve for this quadratic, so we gotta solve for x. So I'm just gonna use our good old x method to factor this to solve for it. So on the top, it's a times our c value, which is 1 times negative 15 for negative 15, and our bottom is our b value, which is negative 2. Two things that multiply to negative 15, but when you add it gives you negative 2, negative 5, and 3. So 0 equals x minus 5, x plus 3. Now, we will solve for this by setting both of the linear factors equal to 0. And we solve, so add 5 to both sides, subtract both sides by 3, and for this one we get x is equal to 5, and this one x is equal to negative 3. So our two roots are, now recall, we denoted y is equal to 0, so y is equal to 0 for both, and we found that we got negative 3 and 5 as our roots. So I'm just going to graph negative 3 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 3 comma 0 is right here, and 5 comma 0 is right there. And let's not forget that this is 0 comma negative 15. Okay, now for your guys' vertex. So your guys' vertex is x is equal to negative b over 2a. Our b value, so our a value is 1, our b value is negative 2, and our c value is negative 15. So to solve for this, negative of our b value was negative 2, so negative of negative 2 over 2 times our a value, which was 1. 2 over 2, which is 1. So, remember, the x value of the vertex is also the axis of symmetry. Now, to find the y value for the vertex, you just substitute it in to the original equation. So, f of 1 equals 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 15, which is 1 squared is 1, negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, and minus 15, so we're going to get negative 16. So our vertex, you guys, is 1 comma negative 16. Graph that, 1, 1, 1 to the right, and down negative 16, which is right there. So you guys, our graph looks like so. Voila. And don't forget to graph your guys' axis of symmetry, which is x is equal to 1. Alright, so there is your guys' graph for, and that's how you guys do standard form. Now let's do factored form. So again, all these answers are going to be the same. It's just you guys have to do the process. The process is the part that's important. So this is what factored form always looks like, you guys. Okay, a times x minus r1 times x minus r2. So right here we have factored form. So let's solve for the y-intercept, which is where x is equal to 0. So f of 0 is equal to 0 minus 5 times 0 plus 3, which is negative 5 times 3 which is negative 15. So our y-intercept, you guys, is 0, comma, negative 15. Okay, our roots is where y is equal to 0, which is when f of x is equal to 0. So 0 equals x minus 5 and x plus 3. So since it's already in factored form, we can just solve for x by setting 0 equal to both our linear factors. So add 5 to both sides, we get x is equal to 5, and subtract 3 to both sides, we get x is equal to negative 3. So our two roots. Again, y is equal to 0, right? Negative 3 comma 0 and 5 comma 0. Okay, to find your guys' vertex for factored form, this is different from standard form. X equals R1 plus R2 divided by 2. And remember, R1 and R2 are your guys' roots. So our roots was negative 3 and 5. Divide that by 2. 2 over 2, which is 1. So remember, your axis of symmetry is your guys' x value of your vertex. Now, since we found our x value of the vertex, you gotta find the y value by substituting your x value of 1 into the original equation. So f of 1 equals 1 minus 5, 1 plus 3, which is negative 4 times 4, which is negative 16. So our vertex, you guys, is 1 comma negative 16. And again, if you need to see the graph, it is up here, right? That is the graph. Again, I'm just showing you guys the process. It's all about the process on how you find each one depending on the form. Alright, lastly we have vertex. So this is what vertex form looks like, you guys. And your vertex is h comma k. So remember, when you guys find the vertex, it's the opposite of this one, but it's the same y-coordinate as that one. So we have our vertex form right here. Now, for y-intercept, you set x is equal to 0, so f of 0 equals 0 minus 1 squared minus 16, which is negative 1 squared minus 16. Negative 1 squared, you guys, is positive 1. Keep the minus 16, and that's negative 15. So your guys' y-intercept is 0, comma, negative 15. Now your guys' roots, set y equal to 0. So that's the same thing as saying f of x equals 0. So 0 equals x minus 1 squared minus 16. Now you guys gotta solve for x. So add 16 on both sides. And then we gotta get rid of that second power, so square root both sides. And remember, when you square root, you get plus or minus the square root of that, which is 4. Now you're gonna get two equations, right? Positive 4 equals x minus 1, and negative 4 equals x minus 1. Add 1 to both sides, you get x is equal to 5 right there. Add 1 to both sides, you get x is equal to negative 3 right there. So our roots are, remember, the y value is 0, because that's what we denoted it, and we got negative 3 comma 0 and 5 comma 0. Now, since we have vertex form, right, we can instantly find the vertex. Your guys' vertex is the opposite of this, which is 1, and the same as this, which is negative 16. And your guys' axis of symmetry is the x value of the vertex, which is 1. So again, the graph is what we did here in standard form, right? The focus of today is making sure you guys have the process down. Making sure you guys have the process down. Alright, so going over to this one. Okay, standard form, right? So to find your guys' y-intercept, set x is equal to 0. So f of 0 equals 0 squared plus 6 times 0 plus 8, which is 8. So your y-coordinate, you guys, is 0, comma 8. Roots, set y is equal to 0. So f of x is the same thing as y, so 0 equals x squared plus 6x plus 8. So now we have to factor this in order to solve for x. So 8's on top because that's a times c, which is 1 times 8, and the bottom is your b value, which is 6. So two things that multiply 8, but when added gives you 6. That is 2 and 4. So 0 is equal to x plus 2 and x plus 4. Now to solve, set 0 equal to both of them. And we're going to subtract 2 to both sides. X equals negative 2. And for this one, x is equal to negative 4. So our roots are negative 2 comma 0 and negative 4 comma 0. And I forgot to graph 0 comma 8, so I'm going to do these intervals by 2. 0 comma 8 is right there. Negative 2 comma 0 is right here. And negative 4 comma 0 is right there. Now, vertex, right, for standard form. X equals negative b over 2a. Now, your guys' a value is 1, and your guys' b value is 6, right? So, negative 6 over 2 times your a value, which is 1. Negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3. So, x coordinate of the vertex is negative 3, and that's also our axis of symmetry. Now, to find the y value of the vertex, substitute negative 3 into the original equation. F of negative 3 is equal to negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 8. Negative 3 squared is 9. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18 plus 8. And that is negative 1. So your guys' vertex is negative 3 comma negative 1. Negative 3 comma negative 1 is right there. And there's your guys' graph. Looks something like that. So that's standard form. Okay, factored form. So y-intercept, set x is equal to 0. So f of 0 equals 0 plus 2, 0 plus 4. 0 plus 2 is 2, 0 plus 4 is 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. So your guys' y-intercept 0 comma 8. Now for your guys' roots. For your guys' roots, set y is equal to 0. So f of x is the same thing as y, so 0 is equal to x plus 2 and x plus 4. Now, since it's already in factored form, we can do the zero product rule to set 0 equal to both of the factors. So 0 equals x plus 2 or 0 equals x plus 4. Solve for both. So x is equal to negative 4 there, and x is equal to negative 2 right there. So your guys' factors are negative 4 comma 0 and negative 2 comma 0. Alright, vertex. So to find your guys' vertex, it's r1 plus r2 divided by 2 for factored form. Our roots that we just found were negative 4 and negative 2. Add those together, so we got negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3. And remember, you guys, your axis of symmetry is the x value of the vertex. Now, let's just plug it in into the original to find our y value. So f of negative 3 equals negative 3 plus 2, negative 3 plus 4. And we're going to get negative 1 times 1, which is negative 1. So our vertex is negative 3 comma negative 1. Okay. And lastly, for vertex form, so y-intercept, you guys, it's always x is equal to 0, so substitute 0 in for x. So we got 0 plus 3 squared minus 1. So 0 plus 3 is 3, so it's 3 squared minus 1. 3 squared is 9, keep the negative 1, and 9 minus 1, you guys, is 8. So our y-intercept is 0 comma 8. Roots is where y is equal to 0. So set the whole equation equal to 0. Now let's solve. We're going to solve for x. So we got to add by 1 to both sides. Got to square root both sides, so we get plus or minus the square root of 1, which is 1, equals x plus 3. This is how we get two equations, right? 1 is equal to x plus 3, negative 1 equals x plus 3. So we solve, subtract 3 to both sides, x is equal to negative 2 up here, and up here, or down here, x is equal to negative 4. So those are our two roots. Negative 4 comma 0 and negative 2 comma 0. For the vertex, remember, since we have vertex form, you should be able to see the vertex. Opposite of this one, which is negative 3, and the same as this one, y coordinate of the vertex negative 1. And your guys' axis symmetry is the x value of the vertex, which is negative 3. So some good practice for you guys to finding all of y-intercept roots and vertex and axis symmetry for whatever form. And you guys just need to practice. Okay? Peace.